Every now and then, we hear in the headlines that something shocking has been discovered on our planet. Something that even the smartest among us couldn't think of ever popping up. But most of the time, it's just something that has been overhyped. This is certainly not the case this time, however. Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Welcome back to our channel. They shocked the world with what they found in Canada. Let's take a look into it. Number 5. The oldest fossils of life found in Canadian rocks. Believe it or not, remnants of the earliest life on planet Earth, which are present in the form of tiny tubular structures, have apparently been found inside archaic Canadian rocks. These rocks consist of a juice of chemical compounds, which is the result of pure biological processes. They are life itself. What we're referring to as life are cylindrical fossils, which exist at the microscopic level. From what scientists are telling us, they're apparently descendants of even more ancient microbes. We're not entirely sure from what time period these little living things are, but estimations tell us that they're as old as 3.77 billion years. News regarding ancient fossils receive all kinds of reactions. People are bewildered to see this discovery, as they had never seen something so ancient yet so captivating. Another reason behind the mixed reactions is that rocks as old as the ones we found, which contain these microbes, rarely last this long. And those microbes are not easy to make out. Therefore, the discovery left the whole world in a state of shock and chaos. How could something so old still be present in the world, they wonder. However, this time, the people who are behind this study are being praised, all through the scientific community, as their discovery and their claims surrounding it have evidence to back themselves up. Number 4. What is the significance of this discovery? Although what the scientists claim to have found is standing firmly against scrutiny, it still hasn't been confirmed as 100% true. But if these findings are granted legitimacy, they will strengthen humanity's notion regarding life that arose that early in the history of our planet. The process to kickstart life may not need a significant length of time or special chemistry, but could actually be a relatively simple process to get started, said the famous biochemist Matthew Dodd, who works at the University College London and was the leading author on the research paper. It has big implications for whether life is abundant or not in the universe, he added. To put it precisely, the microfossils were found in northern Quebec, in the center of rocks located in the middle of the Nunavut Belt, right alongside the coast of Hudson Bay, which looks more or less like an iron strip that slices right through the shore of Hudson Bay. But the thing is, the whole strip and the area surrounding it was a hydrothermal vent on the ocean floor billions of years ago, when the Earth was first formed. Life, including the straw-shaped microbial one we're talking about, arose as a product of these vents, being a result of simple organic chemistry. Now, people who understand organic chemistry might be able to understand this shocking discovery, as it is easier to make sense of findings when you're aware of the scientific reasoning behind them. Number 3. How did these fossils get there? When these ancient microbes died, iron present in the water of their corpses were deposited on top of them, covering them and replacing their intricate cellular structures with, well, rocks. This blob was then buried, subjected to intense pressure and heated, becoming what they were when we found them. As we've already said, for all intents and purposes, they're said to be from 3.77 billion years ago, long before the time the Cambrian explosion took place. Some scientists even hold the opinion that they're as old as 4.3 billion years old. When the Nunavut Belt was visited by Dodd's colleague from UCL, it hit him instantly that he absolutely had to take some samples of the fossils back with him to his lab to experiment upon them. Once he took them back to London, he and Dodd examined very thin slices of the rocks carefully with highly sensitive instruments like optical microscopes, and also Raman microscopes, which are complex, laser-based devices. Their careful observations let them know that the intricate fossil structure they were looking at were encased in hematite, which is a mineral that must have assembled as iron in the seawater that seeped into the deceased microbes' decaying matter. This caught the attention of John Slack, an emeritus scientist from America, who's big into studying life, which showed up from ancient hydrothermal vents. He added that the fossils found in Canada were exactly like the ones he sees in younger rocks, around vents from modern times. Before we continue, make sure to like the video and hit the subscribe button if you're enjoying it. Also press the bell icon so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming content. Now let's get back to what we were talking about. Number 2. The critique of this discovery. As you would expect, not everyone is on board with the discovery. Its biggest critic is probably Tanja Bosek, who's a geobiologist at the prestigious MIT. She says that the authors who put together the paper about the microfossils found in Canada are missing images of the exact site where they found them. This is the very first time we tell our students to look at the context and report the context and interpret the context very carefully. Bosak stated, "Because if the context isn't right, then everything else you do doesn't matter." Another aspect of the discovery that didn't quite sit right with Bosak was the apparent age of the fossils, as the dating technique used on them is controversial. The reason being that it measures the decay of the elements samarium and neodymium. In simple words, the metaphoric processes that rocks should have undergone is an indicator that they could be much younger than what is said. This again becomes a source of concern and curiosity, as the age of the fossils might not have been rightly determined by the dating technique used in it. Not only that, the consensus about the oldest accepted evidence of life on Earth dates back to around 3.5 billion years, which is earlier by 300 million to a billion years than what is being told is the time where the microfossils are from. That's a long time, Bosak said. Just think about it. In the most recent 300 million years of history, the Earth has seen 3 mass extinctions, a reshuffling of continents, the rise and fall of dinosaurs, and the evolution of mankind. She further added, "If what's being said about the fossils is true, then that would imply a very early starting time for life on Earth, which is to say that the time we believed the Earth was quite hostile, that life evolving in such circumstances was impossible, would be inaccurate. Amazing how certain discoveries can completely change our point of view about how the world works and adapts to external factors. The existence of life has always been an unpredictable sign, and continues to amaze us with every passing day." What we read in the books is that between 4 and 3.8 billion years ago, our planet went through quite a rough phase, which is called the Late Heavy Bombardment. As the name implies, this was a time during which tons of comets and asteroids, flinging through our solar system, crashed into Earth and destroyed everything in their path. If the fossils we're talking about right now were alive in such a time, that would mean that life can arise even under the harshest of circumstances. Isn't it a fascinating thought? Although we are all aware of life's ability to adapt to certain environmental conditions, most people believe it to be reliant on those factors. However, with this discovery, it becomes easy to believe that life can continue to exist even when the surroundings turn harsh and unfavorable. Number 1. So what should you believe? Hearing criticisms of this discovery may have made a lot of people turn their backs on it, but the thing is, this is not something that should be given such dismissal. Just 6 months after researchers working in Greenland announced that they had found stromatolites in 3.7 billion-year-old rock was when this discovery in Canada was made. How can 2 people in different parts of the world come to such a similar conclusion? Is something that plays a part in believing whether these reports are right or wrong, and as we're getting deeper and deeper into this matter, it's being revealed to contain more and more truth. It also raised the question of, if life could arise under such chaotic circumstances here on Earth, then is it also possible for it to arise elsewhere? That is something that the man behind this shocking discovery, Dodd, would also like to know, noting that Mars, at the time when these apparent 3.77 billion-year-old microbes was thriving on Earth, had less harsh circumstances as compared to Earth, raising the point that life should be present on many other planets near ours as well. It means we could expect to find evidence of life on Mars at this time, Dodd said, and if we don't, that suggests that life is a result of some fluke or phenomenon on Earth. With this, we come to the end of our video. Here was a deep dive into the absolutely shocking discovery that was made relatively recently in Canada.